If you've driven down 280 or 87 recently and tried to navigate the construction detours near Diridon Station, you've seen the physical footprint of what was supposed to be the project of the century for San Jose. We're talking about the 80 acres of prime real estate in Santa Clara County, a mile-long stretch that was promised to be the new beating heart of the San Jose metro area. Right now, that land is sitting behind barbed wires and chain link fences. And for homeowners in Willow Glen or Rose Garden or downtown, this isn't just a story about a tech company changing its mind. It's a story about your home equity, our local tax base, and the ghost of Silicon Valley that's currently haunting our urban core. How did a $19 billion promise turn into a field of flattened concrete? And more importantly, what does this mean for the value of your property over the next 5 years? To better understand where we are, we have to look back at why this was such a big deal in the first place. For decades, San Jose has been called the capital of Silicon Valley, but let's be honest, it's often felt more like a collection of long, boring suburbs, and our economic engine was tucked away in those low-slung office parks in North San Jose. And downtown was where you went for a Sharks game or a quick dinner, but it really didn't have the prestige or the presence that you see in a San Francisco or New York or Seattle. And in the mid-2010s, Google stepped in and promised to change that. They began a massive land buying spree around Diridon Station, and they chose that spot for a very specific reason. It's the only place in the region where Caltrain, Amtrak, the future BART station, and the high-speed rail extensions were all going to combine. And by 2021, we had a name, Downtown West. This was a mega campus. We're talking 7 million square feet of office space for 25,000 Googlers, 6,000 new housing units for them, and 15 acres of parks. The city projected that it would bring in $80 million in annual property taxes, and when the city council approved it, people were literally moved to tears. It felt like San Jose had finally arrived in the big league of major cities. I'm Steve Moon, your San Jose realtor, and I've been navigating the Silicon Valley real estate marketplace for over 20 years, helping families and investors understand the why behind the numbers. And in this market, your home value isn't just about your kitchen remodel. It's about the infrastructure and the major employers that surround you. And today we're looking at the reality of Google's pause and how that's reshaping the San Jose landscape. To build the future, Google had to erase the past. And this meant uprooting local landmarks that had defined San Jose for generations. I recall walking by the side of the old Poor House Bistro. It was a beloved spot for live music, and to make way for the campus, the entire building was literally lifted onto wheels and rolled across town to Little Italy. It was a surreal sight, to be sure, a piece of our history moving to make room for a tech giant. Then there were the smaller stories. I read about a family on Lorraine Avenue who had lived in their yellow bungalow for over 40 years. They were eventually moved out as Google consolidated their 80-acre footprint. And today, those houses still stand vacant with old Christmas wreaths still hanging on the doors, waiting for a future that hasn't arrived yet. So why did it all stop? In 2023, the momentum hit a brick wall, and Google officially paused the project. And the why is a combination of three factors. First, the hybrid shift. So the post-pandemic tech workers aren't in the offices 5 days a week. So the need for 7 million square feet of office space suddenly looked like a massive liability. And second, interest rates. When the money was cheap, a $19 billion bet was much easier to swallow. But at today's rates, when the rates have doubled since the planning stage, the math has changed for everyone, including Google. Third, the Lend-Lease split. Google recently ended its partnership with its lead developer called Lendlease, signaling a massive shift in how they view mega projects. And here's the biggest kicker of them all. It's the 700-page agreement that the city signed had no penalties for delays. As long as Google pays their property taxes, they can sit on the land indefinitely. The city was so excited about the prospect that they failed to build in any types of significant penalties. So how can an empty 80-acre lot affect your pocketbook? Property tax. That $80 million in projected annual tax revenue, it's not coming. So that means less money for local San Jose infrastructure and schools than we had anticipated. The chokehold for small businesses. And I've seen this firsthand. Local business owners expanded, took out loans, and signed leases thinking that 25,000 Googlers were coming to buy lunch and spend money. Now, they're staring at empty lots and increased crime around the abandoned properties. And inventory and demand. We saw the Google premium baked into home prices in 95110, 125, and 126. And if the project stays dead, that speculative value might start to soften. So if we fast forward to today, March of 26, walk down South Montgomery Street and you won't see a tech utopia. You'll see old warehouses turned into doggy daycares and pop-up mini golf on asphalt. It feels like a placeholder rather than a future mega project. Now, Mayor Mahan and the city leaders are now talking about a plan B. They're floating the idea of a sports and entertainment district. And, this could mean relocating the San Jose Earthquakes Stadium from its current location near the airport to downtown, building a new arena for the San Jose Sharks, who will need a new home by 2051. And it's an interesting pivot, certainly, but it changes the economic profile of the area from a high-paying Monday to Friday employment hub to a weekend and evenings destination. And for property values, that's a completely different kind of vibe. The lesson here for all of us in Silicon Valley is quite simple. Never tie your city's destiny or your investment strategy to a single corporate entity. San Jose traded its urban core for a chain link fence. And while former Mayor Sam Liccardo argues that having 80 acres under single ownership makes it easier to sell to a new developer later, that's little comfort for the people living on Lorraine Avenue next to vacant bungalows with fading reeds on their door. If you own property in the San Jose metro area, don't panic, but do stay informed. Silicon Valley is still the global hub for AI and innovation, but the location of that growth is shifting away from massive company towns like Google towards more flexible, diversified developments. And if you're wondering how the Google pause or the potential new stadium district affects your specific neighborhood's home values, let's connect. We can run the numbers and see if your equity legacy is protected or if it's time for you to pivot to your own new strategy. I'm Steve Moon, your San Jose Realtor. Thanks for watching, and I'd like to see you in the next video.